Today I'm going to talk about how to close high-ticket SaaS sales without hiring better salespeople. Before I get into it, as Thomas mentioned, I have a Facebook group called SaaS Growth Hacks, about 8,000 SaaS founders and CEOs, people interested in SaaS. If you just type in SaaS Growth Hacks into Facebook, you can join. It's totally free, and would love to have you. So I'm going to talk relatively fast. I have a lot of stuff that I want to go through today in this American accent for the entire time. And at the end, during the middle of the presentation, I'm going to give you an opportunity to download the slides. I think Thomas is going to probably share the slides with you after, but if you want to get them a little bit early, I'll give you an opportunity to do that. This might be our only time that we have to talk and work together, so I'm going to give as much as I possibly can in this time and hopefully give you some actionable content that you can implement right after today's presentation to see an increase in conversions. So before we get started, here's what we're going to learn today. I'm going to show you how to get more demos out of the traffic you already have, show you some email templates that will dissolve objections before the demo process, how to create a lead offer that will attract more clients. A lot of people talk about creating lead offers and content. I'm going to show you exactly how to do that and create really, really good content, and show you a sequence that will shorten the sales cycle and improve conversions. Before we do that, though, just want to gauge the room a little bit. How many of you are in SaaS, run SaaS, or founders of SaaS companies? Great. Okay, so that's a pretty nice majority. How many of you are in enterprise SaaS, so $500 a month or more? Okay, fantastic. So for the rest of you, this presentation is going to be mainly for you guys. If you're trying to get into enterprise SaaS, or if you are in low-ticket SaaS, there's still a lot of really good content here that will help you. Okay? So here's the problem. If you ignore these things I'm going to teach you, you're going to have a really long sales cycle. Years, 6 months to a year at sometimes. You're going to have unqualified leads. For those of you in enterprise SaaS, if you've ever wasted time with unqualified leads, I'm going to show you how to get rid of that today. And also low visitor to demo conversion. So the traffic that you're getting to your website is really, really valuable if you're at $500 a month or more. I'm going to show you, and so if you don't follow these things, you're going to have some problems, or you're going to lose a lot of your visitors to demo conversions. And so here's the formula. It's the high-ticket enterprise sales formula, and there's 3 buckets. One is position. We're going to positioning the product. Second is building the frame, and then the wrap. And so within each one of these, there's 3 categories. We have, or within each of 3 of these categories, we have a few different elements. So I can't go over all these today, but I'm just going to zoom out and show you this entire process, and then I'm going to pick 3 that I think are the most important, and then zoom into those. So first, in the positioning, we have to identify your awareness stages of your customer. Thomas and Laura talked about this in the roundtable, in the fireside discussion. I'm going to kind of really hone in on this today and show you guys what those different awareness levels look like and what kind of content you need to create for each of those. Second is objection discovery, finding out what your customer's objections are and then dissolving them. And then also within this stage is the demo reframe. So it's not positioning the demo as a demo, because a lot of times demo in your customer's mind equals sales call. And a lot of times it's not ready for a sales call yet. So we're going to so you need to reframe that. And within the framing section, there's the enterprise demo process, which is a 4-step process to convert more demos. It's part of this is creating the golden lead offer, I like to call it. The perfect recorded webinar. So for those of you who don't have a recorded webinar yet, you should have one. I'm not going to talk about it today, but this is a way for you to get customers that aren't ready for a demo to see the product. And then the idiot-proof demo, which is for people like me who can't sell for crap and just need a formula for selling on a demo. And then the wrap is what goes around the demo process. So for a lot of high-ticket enterprise sales, there's the inquiry, and then the demo, and then maybe a few follow-up. Within the wrap, there's warm-up sequences, which gets customers ready for the demo. There's the post-demo nurture, which is what happens after they get the demo, if they're ready to convert or not. And then some examples of funnel walkthroughs, and I'll show you one of those today. Cool. So these are the 3 that I'm going to focus on. The awareness stages, the golden lead offer, and the warm-up sequence. These are probably what I would consider the 3 easiest ways that you can increase conversions, demo conversions, without hiring more salespeople, without getting more traffic to your website, without retraining sales teams, or without you having to read or go through a bunch of sales trainings, okay? So let's talk about the awareness stages. The problem is if you're not focused on the awareness stages of your current customers, you're going to lose 40 to 70% of potential clients. So some of you have, let's say you have a 30 to 40% conversion rate from visitor to demo, which is like phenomenal. You're still losing 60 to 70% of those customers because they're not ready to take the step that you're proposing, which in a lot of cases is just a demo call or a contact form. You're going to capture more leads from the visitors that you're already getting. That's the second thing. And so here are the 3 awareness stages. There's 3 of them. There's problem aware. The problem aware is where customers that are aware that they have a problem to solve, and what they're asking what they're saying in their head is, I've got this problem. Is there a solution out there to this problem? Okay, so this is a lower on the awareness levels. The second stage is solution aware. So they're aware that a solution exists to the problem, and they're looking for that solution. So they're one step above problem. So now that they're aware that there's a solution exists, they're trying to find out what that is, and what they're asking in their head is, someone out there has what I need. And then the third level is product aware. So they're aware of the specific product, and they're aware of your product and that it can possibly solve their problem. And what they're asking is, in their head, I know you and I know who you are, but are you right for me? And then there's the next stage, which is completely aware, and that's ready. They're just ready to click the buy button and be like, I'm ready to buy. Most customers fall within these 3 categories. So within each 3 of these awareness stages, you need to have a different offer for each stage. If you're only offering an offer for the problem-aware customers, and you're not offering a demo, or you're not offering something like a recorded webinar, you're going to lose those customers because they're already more advanced in the buying process, and they're just going to move on to something else because the offer is not right for them. Okay, so let me kind of reframe this in kind of a dating scenario, because I did a lot of dating when I was, well, actually that's not true. I did date, and I actually met my wife on Tinder. So this is the process that I went through to get married. So it works. First, and this is kind of like from the women's perspective. Men is a little bit different. This whole process would be, well, probably totally different. So for the 4 or 5 women in here, you can probably relate to this. So problem aware, from a women's perspective, is there's got to be someone out there for me. I don't know who it is. I haven't seen him yet. I haven't met him yet. So the offer for you in this case would be Tinder, because it's a very, very low risk offer, right? Like, you don't have to talk to anyone. You can just sit at home and watch a movie and just like flip through and try to find that someone out there for you, right? How many of you have done that? Okay, just me. All right, that's cool. I did it all the time. I don't know, maybe in London you have something different, like, I don't know, fireplace? I don't know. Do you guys have Tinder here? Yeah. Okay, all right. Well, okay. So that's problem aware. Solution aware. That's after you've gotten some matches, right? You've swiped through some guys, and then you realize, okay, so these guys look good. They're not total idiots. The next step is going to be a chat or a phone call, okay? And then the third one is product aware / dating material aware. So after you swipe through a few times, you've had some conversations, some chats, now you're ready to get serious, which is the next step, which is dating, okay? So if you look at this from a sales perspective, women, and men, I guess too, probably not so much men in here, but mostly women, how many of you have made a match or met some guy and they immediately ask you out on a date without even saying anything else? Hey, I saw you, we look like we're a good match, let's go out on a date. If you're looking for a serious relationship, then that's like a red flag, right? Like, you're not going to jump into a date with a guy that you haven't met yet. And so this is the process that I went through, and it works really, really well for sales. Okay, so if we switch this into like a sales perspective, a problem-aware customer is still in the education mode, so they're looking for a solution, and they don't know that the solution exists. So you can't sell a product to them. The product doesn't mean anything because they don't know what that means. So you want to solve one of their basic problems, which in this case, if we're talking about maybe like a proposal creation software, the proposal creation checklist, how to create a good proposal, right? So their problem, they're aware of the problem is I need to create better proposals. It needs to be faster. My sales team can't create them. They're not cohesive, right? So that's problem aware. That's a good offer for a problem aware customer. Solution aware is they're aware that a proposal software exists, that it's supposed to do what they think it does, but they're not sure if you're the good fit for them. So they're not really ready to jump into a sales call yet because they don't really know what's out there. So if you give them a pre-recorded demo, for instance, which a lot of people have, this is a great way to get people in the middle between problem and product aware. And product aware is, I know your product, I'm ready to schedule a demo, and they hop into the demo. Okay? So if you miss one or two of these in the process, you're going to lose out on those customers. Okay? So let's talk about how to create the offer. So if there's two here, there's the pre-recorded demo and the scheduled demo. I'm going to talk about how to create a good offer for the problem aware, because there's a lot of customers that are not ready to schedule a demo that you are missing out on if you don't have some type of offer, especially the right offer. If you don't have the right offer, you're going to attract the wrong client, and you're going to waste time, money, and energy, because you're going to create a lead offer that no one's going to read or want, or that they're going to read it and then just not be interested in your product. Okay? If you have the right lead offer, you'll attract better leads. You'll attract relevant targeted clients. And like Laura and Thomas were talking about before, Thomas asked the question to use content for existing customers. And if you do the content right, you can use the content for current customers and to attract new leads. So this is how you do that. There's three key principles to a really good lead offer. So within the golden lead offer, there's this formula, which is called the required outcome is the first step, the functional completion of the product, and a success gaps. Okay, so let me explain. The required outcome is the outcome that matters most to your user. I'm going to give you an example of this in a second. Then there's the functional completion of the product, and these are different things. So if I'm creating a proposal, the functional completion of the product might be I create a wonderful proposal and I'm ready to hit send to a client. The outcome that matters most to me is not to create a proposal, but it's to get new clients, close more leads, to get more leads in faster, to get more proposals out. And then the success gaps is what has to happen in between that point to make certain they achieve their required outcome. And a lot of times, even if your customer completes the product functionally perfectly, they will not achieve their required outcome and they will churn or they'll look for another product. Okay? This is really, really important to understand. So here's the example. Proposify and Proposable, I think, were taken, so I just made up a company called Propositude. The name is available for you if you do want to take it. No royalties. Propositude, this is a made-up proposal company. So what they do is they help companies close deals faster by creating proposals. The required outcome for the customer is to close more deals. That's what they want. That's why they want to create. That's why they want the proposal software. The completion of the product is a fully built proposal that they can send to the client. That's made easily. So the success gaps, what's missing in between those two, are things that you don't really have any control over a lot of times. And you have to understand what those things are, because if they don't have good salespeople, if they don't have a good amount of leads, or if they don't know what to write, your product could be the best proposal product in the world, and they're not going to have success with your product. They're not going to achieve their required outcome. And they're going to either think that your product doesn't work, or they're going to move on to something else. Does that make sense? Success gaps? So these success gaps now become your lead offers. Because now what you're doing is you're preparing content that not only attracts the right type of person, because if I'm looking for a proposal software, most likely I'm hiring salespeople. Most likely I'm trying to get new B2B leads. Most likely if I don't have good content for the proposal, I'm going to need some kind of proposal content swipe file. So these are three types of offers that you can create. And as you can see, each one of these works really, really well for bringing good leads in, but it also is fantastic for sending out to current customers because they fill that success gap. The more you can fill that success gap, so that the functional completion of the product and their required outcome, the smaller you can get that gap, the more success they'll have, and the churn will be, you'll reduce churn and you'll increase conversions. The second thing in this offer is you want to deliver a quick win. So a lot of people offer white papers and big PDF manuals and guides, and for some that's really good, especially if they're really, really problem or solution aware and they really want to learn a lot about these strategies. A lot of times it's better to create really quick guides. You notice I have like cheat sheets, checklist, swipe files. These are things that they can take right away and implement into their business to deliver a quick win. If you could deliver a quick win for a customer with something that's free, they're much more likely to buy from you because you've already shown that you can deliver value. And then easy to consume and actionable, that would be something like a checklist, guide, swipe file. You don't have to create a 600-page PDF about everything to do with proposals. Like you just solve those success gaps, and then you'll see the right type of customer come in. Cool. All right, so let's break this down. So I'm going to show you a lead offer funnel from one of our favorite companies, HubSpot, who's been doing this for many, many years. They have a wonderful funnel. I'll show you exactly break this down, and I'll explain each step. This is something that you can just copy. If you have your specific company and your offer, this is a funnel that you can easily just copy and paste. So here's one of HubSpot's offers. It's 5 free blog post templates. Okay. So their software, HubSpot, helps you manage your company and your leads, and it's a social media tool. But they don't write the blog posts for you. If you can you can completely set up the entire product in your business. But if you don't have good blog post templates to use, you're not going to have success. So they fill that success gap. That's number one by creating this offer. This is the form that you fill out. Notice there's certain questions, and it's kind of a longer form, and that's okay, especially if what you're delivering has a lot of value. If this was a sign-up form for a free trial, that's a lot of stuff. But if you're offering something of value that they understand, they know that what they're going to get, you can ask questions like, how big is your company, and what role are you in the company? Because then you can start segmenting and qualifying these leads as they're coming in into your sales team. Okay, so here's the email that comes out after you sign up and download these templates. So this comes from Shannon Johnson. And notice this email, just a few quick things. It's not like beautiful HTML formatted email. It's just rich. It's just text email. It comes from a specific person. It talks about how to use the templates. And then at the end, it has 2 different offers. One is to subscribe to the HubSpot blog, which is a very low-risk offer, and that's for somebody that's problem-aware. And then if you want to know more about HubSpot, check out this video overview. So that's more of a solution-aware. So they're aware of what HubSpot is. They want to learn more about the solution. This leads them to a video. Okay, so this is kind of this pre-recorded demo. So this is on YouTube. I would probably not put this on YouTube. You can retarget on YouTube. I probably would put it on a web page, but that's just kind of more strategy type stuff. As you're going through the video, a pop-up shows up, says evaluate your marketing strategy in a free inbound marketing assessment. So what is that really? It's like a demo, right? But they're not saying schedule a demo to see how our product works. So this is kind of a low-risk offer. It's repositioning this demo offer in a kind of a free assessment. A lot of this stuff probably isn't new to you guys, but the way that they put this together and the steps that they take and the journey that the customer goes through is really, really effective. So this is the page that you go to. Notice there's 3 options. There's chat, call us now, and schedule your, chat, call us, or schedule your assessment now. There's 3 more offers to pay depending on my level of comfortability. I can either chat with a salesperson and I can ask them some questions. I can call them if I'm comfortable with that, or I can schedule a meeting, right? So there's 3 different levels within the levels that they're already working with. And then at the bottom, a chat pops up, and I really like this. A lot of people don't do chat right. What I like about this is they ask a question, and they say, I'm right here if you want to chat strategy, which is really cool. In fact, a lot of times when we set up chat, we say something like, hey, I'm John. I'm manning the chat bar today. Just wanted to see if you had any questions. Okay, so it brings this personal kind of feel to the chat. You're not chatting with a bot. I'm sure they get a lot of chats from this. So anyways, you can see all the ways that they position this offer, okay? So I'm gonna get a drink of water real quick. If you want a copy of the slides right now, you can just send an email to ak@aaronkrall.io and put slides in the subject line. That is a funnel. You guys are actually gonna see the funnel that I set up for this. So even if you don't like me, and you don't like my presentation, you could at least see the funnel that I built. All right, sweet. I think Thomas will send you the slides afterwards anyways, too. So, oh, forgot the GIF that I put in. Let's let it run a few times so you guys can see it. Okay, all right, so this is the wrap. So you have a lead offer now. You understand the levels of awareness. Let's say that you do get a demo scheduled with your customer. And one thing I want to mention, and this is kind of a little bit on a side note, because it looks like a lot of you are kind of maybe in the lower ticket side, lower than $500 a month, which is totally cool. There's no reason why you shouldn't offer a higher package just to see if someone takes it. There's really no downside to it. You know, for this propositude fake company, you can offer a package that says we'll build out your entire proposal, we'll write everything for you, we'll set up your proposal, and it's X amount of dollars, right? You can upgrade to an enterprise level service without changing anything on the software. You just kind of get your team together and create a package that you can, if someone buys it, then you just kind of figure it out and you do it. It's not that hard, but you want to give different levels of offers to people based on where they're at. Some people are ready. They're even not only they're ready to buy, they're ready for you to do it for them. And there's no reason for you not to just try that out. So that was like a side note. So here's the wrap. So the wrap is what happens before and after the demo. So when someone schedules a demo with you or with a salesperson, there's three different things that you can have. You have the warm-up sequence, which is the emails that go out before the demo, the post-demo nurture, and the closing sequence. I'm going to talk about the warm-up sequence. A lot of demo companies don't have a warm-up sequence. All they have is, hey, I'm Joe. I'm going to be doing your demo call. Can't wait to talk to you on Thursday. And then 3 days later, 2 days later, they have the demo. And then what happens is people don't show up to the demos because they forget why they signed up, or they don't remember the pain that they had. They show up not ready. I'm not sure why I picked this picture of this girl. I just remember that I would go to elementary class. I would go to school in elementary school all the time, and I would always not be ready for whatever was happening. I would like forget pencils or whatever. So this is like a very personal moment for us. So they're going to show up not ready. What I mean by not ready is like they're just going to not know what the product is. They're not going to have a good understanding of maybe their problems or the problem that you promised to solve, and they're going to have all these questions that result in you having to like explain for the first 30 minutes all these questions and objections that they have, if they even talk about objections. So if you have a warm-up sequence that's effective, you have fewer no-shows. You increase conversions without changing the sales process. So your salespeople don't need to do anything. They just show up to the call the same way that they do currently, or you show up to the call the same way. And here's the two ways to make these emails really, really effective. And I'll show you an example. But when customers don't buy, it's usually because they have some major objections. Oftentimes you're talking to the wrong person and they can't make a decision, or they just don't have the money. But if they're the right type of client for you, you want to kill sharks, which is eliminating objections. So if you imagine your customer is on this island with no water, no food, it's a deserted island, they're starving. I call it Hell Island. If they're on Hell Island, it's the problem that they're having right now, and they want to get rid of their problem. Across the way, they see this land, which is this beautiful island paradise, okay? For those of you who are afraid of water, I'm scared this is going to be very traumatic for you, this next one. But they have to get from Hell Island to Heaven Island, and they have to take that boat across. It's the only way for them to do it, okay? So they know what their problem is, They know what Heaven Island looks like for them. They know what their life looks like without that problem. But in between those two, in that water is a bunch of sharks. And you can talk about how great that boat is. You can talk about how great the paint is, how the oars are made out of pure oak. It's got an amazing sail made out of Egyptian cotton. It doesn't matter, because what they're looking at is those sharks in the water. They do not want to get in that water because it doesn't matter how great the boat is. And those sharks are the objections that you have to kind of dissolve and talk to your customers about. A lot of times, as you're doing demos, these objections come up a lot in the calls. So what you do is you make a list of these objections. You can probably, depending on how many objections that your typical customer will have, you maybe between 5 and 7, and then make a list of those objections, and we're going to dissolve those. The next thing is, as you understand more about your customer, and this was mentioned in, I think it was Patrick's talk about knowing thy customer. If you can articulate a person's problems better than they can, they will automatically assume or give you credit for knowing the solution. This is so fascinating because a lot of us think when we're starting our SaaS companies that we need to have all these testimonials and we need to have all this social proof, our LinkedIn connections, we have to have like 1,000 LinkedIn connections. Really, if you can articulate a person's problems better than they can, they will automatically assume that you have the solution to their problem. And so as you're doing these warm-up emails, there's 2 of them. One of them is called the shark killer. The other one I call the trust builder. So the shark killer is you addressing their objections in a way that helps them see that you understand their problems better than they do. You're asking questions that maybe they didn't even have and then dissolving those objections. It's really, really cool. We've used this strategy a lot in email sequences and campaigns. And it's amazing what happens when you start to dissolve and kill those sharks in between where they are and where they want to go. So here's an example of a shark killer email. And I'll just read this. So the email is top questions about Grizzle. Anybody know that reference, Grizzle? We got one person. All right, sweet. We'll have to chat afterwards. Grizzle's a made-up company from a TV show. Anyway, so top questions about Grizzle answered for our call. Okay, so this is the email that goes out to your customer the hour they sign up after the call. Okay. Hey, Alan, excited to chat with you this week and see if we can help you benefit, close more deals, or whatever it is that you're trying to do. You always want to tie back the demo into the benefit. I don't even think that I say demo anywhere here in this call. The whole purpose of the call is to help them solve their problem. Okay, it's not a demo call. Before our call, I want to answer a few questions you might have about Grizzle. These are questions we found most people have when looking for a proposal creation tool. Okay, so you're already preempting the questions they're going to have in the objections. And then what you do is you go through the objections and then you talk about them. So does Grizzle integrate with my current tool stack? That might be one of the biggest objections your customers have is, does it integrate with my tool, the tool that I have? And this is where you can say, you know, it depends. We integrate with we have Zapier integration, which means you can do this, and this, and get as detailed as you can into this objection. So when they hop on the call, they say, okay, I know you integrate with these tools. All I need to know is if you integrate with this tool. And if you can, great, then you can move on. If you can't, then that's a deal breaker. Then at least you didn't waste time on the call. Or if they can respond to this email and say, hey, do you integrate with XYZ? And you can say, yeah, we do. Awesome, great. Let's talk to you on the call, okay? How do you compare with Drizzle? So this is the competitor. In Laura's case, Meet Edgar, how do you compare with HubSpot? How do you compare with Buffer? This is a chance for you to explain how you compare with one of your competitors. Because they probably have heard of this competitor. If not, so I just made these up. So sometimes they're going to have questions about your competitor, sometimes not. So if you're in a really competitive space like Meet Edgar, you might mention and preempt this question and talk about that. Who is Grizzle for? Will Grizzle be flexible enough for my needs? So these are just some objection questions, and you just answer the questions. I mean, this is not rocket science. But when addressing these objections and talking to your customers in their own words and addressing these, they trust you, number one, because you have their needs before you're thinking of their needs before your own. and you're addressing their challenges in a way that maybe no one else has before. And then you close the email. If you've got any more questions, we can go over them on our call this week, or you can just say, just reply to this email. Excited to meet you, Ted. Okay, so, and you can either send both of these emails or one of these emails. This is the second email. So our call tomorrow or our call this week or whatever you want to do. Hey, Alan, Ted from Grizzle here. Excited to chat tomorrow about how we can help you benefit. In this case, it's create better proposals or send more proposals to your clients, make your proposals look more beautiful, whatever that might be. Before we chatted, I wanted to shoot over a few questions and answers you might have before our call, so we can spend the majority of our time majority of our time on your specific needs. If any other questions come up, jot them down so we can answer them on our call. And then so you can answer, these are similar to the objections, but these are more FAQ questions. And this is a chance for you to kind of mention more of these either FAQ questions they might have ahead of the call, or objections. So these are very similar. And then by the time they get these two emails, and Thomas and Laura were talking about how many touch points they need, right? So by the time they're on the demo with you, they've already had 3 or 4 touch points instead of the 1 or 2 that they would normally have if they just have a confirmation email. Cool. And there's one other strategy. How many of you have seen, I can't even remember the name of the movie, but it's a movie about Santa Claus, who's the real Santa Claus and no one believes him. It's from the 1950s. Anyone remember this movie? No? All right. Great. I thought it was White Christmas, but that's definitely not it. But anyways, in the movie, Kris Kringle.
Miracle on 34th Street.
Yes, Miracle on 34th Street. Thank you. So in this movie, Kris Kringle is sitting in this chair, and he's like this fake Santa Claus, and he's talking to these kids, and one of the kids comes up and says, "I'm looking for, this thing." And he's like, "Well, we don't have that, but JCPenney's has it down the street." And he's working for Macy's, and JCPenney's has it right down the street. And he's leading all these people to different stores because they don't have the product that they're looking for. And the store managers were just like furious at him for sending people away. But what ended up happening was more and more people started coming to Macy's because Kris Kringle had their best interest in heart. So one phrase that I like to use in these demos is, we'll have a quick chat. If we're not a good fit for you, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction, or someone better who might be a better fit for you. That like completely dissolves that whole sales process. So your customer now knows that even if they're not a good fit for you, you're going to tell them. And most of the time, even if they're not a good fit, you don't want to work with customers that aren't a good fit for you to begin with, right? And if you know your customers well enough, you can refer them away to one of your competitors and have your competitor deal with them. Or even if you just don't like the client. So that's a really, really good way to dissolve the sales call and break down their barriers. By the time they're on the demo, they know you, they trust you, you've already answered a lot of their questions. You can spend the majority of the time just talking about their specific challenges and pain points and how you can solve their challenges. So just as a quick recap, there's 3 awareness stages. There's problem aware, solution aware, and product aware. And each one of those stages, you want to have a different offer for them. There's the golden lead offer. Remember those success gaps. So those are you want to create content that fills those success gaps. What I see a lot of times is if you're like, for instance, this proposal creation software, a lot of times companies will just do content like how to create a great proposal, which is fine. But what your software does is do that for them. So even if you're talking about how to create a great proposal, you're not really filling a success gap. You're teaching them how to do something that they can do themselves. And that's not bad, but you really can't use that content dually. You can't use it for your current customers, right? And then we talked about warming up your clients for the demo, which remember is killing those sharks and those objections, dissolving the objections, and then building trust with them. Cool, so that's it. That's all I got, thank you.
Thanks, Aaron. So some of you have been tweeting in questions, so I'll start with those and then I'll open up the floor. So first question, again, I think this will be super relevant for particularly the smaller businesses here. If you have a team of, say, 3 people, like, firstly, what are the practical steps for actually implementing these funnels? What would you recommend people do themselves? And what should they outsource? Like, should the average founder who doesn't know anything about sales be writing sales copy?
Well, that's why I like to formalize things as much as possible. Now, this isn't going to work for every single company, but the templates that I gave you are really good. You don't really need to become a professional salesman. All you really need to do is address their objections and talk to them as you would be talking to a customer. So these are really easy things for you to implement. The lead offer is probably a little bit more difficult. You probably want to have a copywriter, but the warm-up sequence, that's something you can implement right away. You don't need to be a copywriter to do that. You just need to understand your customer well enough to know what their problems are and then address those objections ahead of time. That's why that's such a cool strategy. So if you have a team of 3, it's better to have something that's not perfect than to have nothing at all, a lot of times. So even if your copy's not perfect and you're not super happy with it, if you address those objections and have these things in place, you're going to be far better off than if you didn't have them at all. So. And
then I guess and even more, taking a further step back, how are you physically setting up? Are there certain tools you recommend, like email service providers?
Yeah, so any marketing automation tool will work for these guys. Like there's nothing super fancy. As soon as you schedule an appointment, you have a Zapier go out. Somebody scheduled an appointment, and you can have an email go out, or if you have a marketing automation tool, they can schedule it through the tool, and then the email goes out one day, and then the second email goes out. If they schedule the demo the next day, then you just make sure those emails go out on the same day or 36 hours later. It just depends. You can even have some of these emails go out after if you need to, but as long as they're addressed, and it's really easy to do that with pretty much any marketing automation software. Yeah.
Cool. So another question was related to phone calls. So obviously you've been speaking specifically about like email sequences, leading them to a demo. Have you ever tested, particularly for the enterprise clients, have you tested doing calls as part of the drip process? So it's like email call, or whatever it might be.
Definitely. So if you have calls built into your sales process, I wouldn't like eliminate them. Call as a reminder call and stuff, but you can't address everyone's objection in a call. Like, hey Joe, I have about 7 questions I want to go over with you, and you have like 30 minutes. I just need to talk to you for like 30 minutes. So it's hard to do that. But if you have sales calls built into the process already, the amazing thing about these strategies is they're just bolt-ons. Like you don't need to change your sales strategy to create these pre-warm-up emails or to create a better lead offer. So I wouldn't change that if that's working for you. This is just a way to improve that process.
Yeah. So I guess similar question to the first question. If you're a founder and you're not very comfortable selling, so writing copy is probably going to be quite intimidating.
Yeah.
Doing sales calls is probably going to be the whole new level of intimidating. So what do you recommend to people there? Should one of your early hires be a salesperson? Should you just learn to sell, or should you?
That's a really good question. I struggled with the term salesperson and sales call for many, many years because I had in my head that a sales call was where you try to sell something to someone. When we do demo calls, what I suggest is we do an audition call, and the first call is it's just a series of questions. What's happening in your business that's caused you to reach out to me? Where are things at now? Where do you want things to be at? And your whole focus is just figuring out what the challenges are of your customer. You just pretend you don't even have a product at this point. Your goal is to audition them to see if they're a good fit for your product. And then after you figure all that stuff out, you don't sell anything. You say, great. At the beginning of the call, we usually say, if I'm a good fit for you, I'll let you know. If I'm not, I'll do my best to point you in the right direction. Somebody can help you. And at the end of the call, if you feel like you're a good fit, you say, great, I think this is something we can help with. Let's schedule another call, and we'll discuss how we can help you solve this problem. It always goes back to the problem, and the first call is just a problem and pain discovery. You're not selling anything. Some of the best salesmen in the world are not trying to sell you. They're just trying to figure out what it is that you're struggling with, and then show how that product or service or whatever can solve that problem, and then show them what their life will be like with that in their life. So if you're not into sales, you should still be having these conversations. In fact, even if you have a lower ticket product, like having these demos, you're going to learn so much from what the customer's reactions are to certain things. We work with the clients, and they're like, yeah, when we get to this point, we can actually hear on the phone, like, what? And that's a moment where you realize, okay, this is like a very important part of our product where we need to stress this more. I'm not a quantitative person. I like there's maybe 3 numbers in my entire presentation. It's like mostly just qualitative stuff. Like I'm a huge fan of just talking to your customers. But if you're afraid to sell, don't sell. Just figure out their problem and then say, hey, this is what I think can help you, and here's how we can solve this problem for you. Does it look like a good fit? I mean that's probably and the more that you do it, the easier it'll get.
Yeah.
So
there's definitely more gifts than numbers.
Yes. Yes. I want more gifts too if you ever need any.
One more question for me, then I'll go out to everyone. So, part of your brand, you've built a very successful and like thriving Facebook community, and I think community in marketing circles is becoming more and more important. And I think almost anyone who runs a business in the room could benefit from building a community. So, what would be like one tip for building the biggest Facebook group?
The one tip that I would have for building an enormous community. Well, for me, I just started, I bought a list of SaaS founders and I just emailed them. There might be some of you in here who I just cold emailed. And all I said was, hey, I'm starting a community. It's to help solve this problem. Would you like to join? That was it. And then they responded, yeah, sure. Or how much time is invested? Or who's in the group so far? And then I started changing the email and I used to say, I would say things like, join this group, there's no time commitment, and we have members of, we have Lucidchart, we have the founder of Atlassian, blah, blah, blah. And then more and more people started joining, and then finally it just kind of snowballed. So that's why I got people initially into the group. I think if there's one thing that I think you should do is not build a page, and this might be controversial, but don't build a page around your product, build a community around the problem. Nothing against the Granges Hotel, but like I see their Instagram and Facebook. It's like, join us on Instagram, join us on Facebook. And like, there's no reason for me to do that. Like, there's no way I'm gonna go, oh man, I need to go to the Instagram and follow the Granges Hotel. It's a beautiful hotel. I hope there's no staff in here, or the owner's not in here or anything. But you build a page around the problem, and then you invite people to join, and then say that we're gonna help solve this problem for you. Like Propositude, for instance. Like, we are a group for small business owners, brick and mortar small business owners, to help improve sales. And then you use the group as a way to test things. And in my group, you'll see all the time, like I'll be like, hey, does anyone want this? There's a need for this? It's just like, it's amazing to have 8,000 people that you can just talk to and just test like whatever idea you have, and then have them respond. So, anyways, that was a really long answer to your question.
Thanks. That's really helpful. So that's the end of Twitter questions. Has anyone in the room got a question? If you put your hand up, that's nice and close.
After the demo, when the customer says, "Oh yes, we like it, it's great," and then they become silent, you try to follow up, and they say, "Oh, something else came up. We're busy. The project is delayed," or something like that. How do you overcome that? How do you diagnose the problem one with one?
Well, first thing you do is get their address, and then you drive to the. I'm just kidding. No, so a lot of times, and Laura mentioned this before, some customers don't buy for 6 months, a year, 3 years down the road. And there's a lot of reasons for enterprise. You're talking to the wrong person. There's a lot of loopholes to jump through. It's just like bureaucracy. Part of this whole like enterprise sales process is the nurture sequence, which is just sending emails on a regular basis to help remind them who you are, what you can help them with, and start identifying the pains that you have. So we actually use a formula called the triangle of insight for sending out these nurturing emails. And all we do is we say, we start with an insight. We say companies that create proposals faster usually end up closing more deals. And here's why. And if you have this problem, we can help solve it. And so just really quick emails, and then we send them, oftentimes we'll send them every week, every couple of weeks, just keep sending those emails. You can easily write, and again, I know a lot of you aren't copywriters, and this is like, like it sounds really daunting to do this stuff. I totally get it. But this formula is really easy to use to send to a copywriter, someone who has basic writing skills, to just follow up with those emails. What you don't want is to just let them go cold. I have a belief that as a salesperson, as a founder, your goal is to help make your customer make a decision either way, either no or yes. Until you get a no or a yes, you don't stop contacting them because you have a product that can solve their pain, right? Like if you believe in your product, there's no reason for you to not continue following up with them in a way that provides insight and value. Because either way, they're either going to become a customer or they're not going to become a customer, and so you just keep following up. Does that answer your question? Is that okay? All right. It's a complicated process.
Awesome.
But
Any other questions? Just wave your hand.
Yeah, I think the microphone's fine. Just a quick one. A lot of the sequence you were talking about, it kind of almost assumes that there's one person at the enterprise who's going to be making the decision, and often there's like an IT guy, head of procurement, and then whatever. And what you don't want, obviously, is when you go to when you're selling, to sell to one person, and then they will be denied by the other person. So is there any way you can kind of get around that using these kind of sequences to avoid that happening in advance?
to avoid selling to the wrong person
Well, no, just
or selling to multiple
sell
people.
To someone, they get excited, they tell head of procurement, and they go, oh no, or they tell head of IT, and they go, oh no, we can't do this because it's cloud-based. And if you had known the IT guy was involved, then you could be like, okay, no, we have an on-premise solution and stuff like that.
Yeah. So
How
here's
do you kind of use your lead magnets to attract multiple people and not only talk to like the one guy?
Yeah, sure, exactly. It's a really good point. So typically, that's what we have, that addition call at the beginning. The audition call is like a 10-minute call, and it just figures out if you're talking to the right person and if you can solve their problem. The question I like to ask is there anyone else other than you involved in the decision-making process? And if they say, oh yeah, the IT guy, great. Your whole shift now focuses on getting a meeting with the IT guy. Now you're not selling to whoever you're talking to. You're trying to figure out what are the pain points around this account executive or this person who wanted the process. Oh, my IT guy has these problems and challenges, but my real challenges are this, and this. You say, great, we can help you do this. Would it make sense to have a meeting with you and your IT guy at some point, and I can show them how we can solve that problem? You don't want this. You don't want the lower tier person trying to sell to the IT guy if they won't do as good a job as you can. So don't waste your time. That's the purpose of that audition call. Yeah.